Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's welcome all of you saying 3 times Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Thank you. So after a Ramayana series, it was so ecstatic. So we are back again to start our Bhagavad Gita systematic study class. So thank you everybody for joining today. So let's welcome all of you saying 3 times Haribol. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
So let me share the screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya Bhagavadi Uttama Sloge Bhaktir Bhavadi Naishtigim. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse number 47. So please unmute yourself and please repeat after me. It's very powerful verse. Sreyan Sadharmo Vigunaha. Please go ahead if you can.
Shreya Sarva Dharmo Viguna.
Paradharmatsu Anushtidat.
Paradharmastu Anushtutat.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Svabhavaniyata karma.
Kurvanapnodi kilbisham.
Purvan naptoti kilpisam.
Sreyan Sadharmo Vigunaha.
Shreyan Sarva Dharmo Sivikram.
Paradharmatsu Anushtidat.
Paradharmatsu Anushtutat.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Svabhavaniyatam karma.
Kurvannapnodi kilbisham.
Purvan
Naptoti kilbisam.
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha.
Shreyan
Shreyan
Sarvadharma
Swadharmo Viguna.
Viguna.
Paradharmat so Anushtidat.
Paradharmat Swa
Paradharmatsu
Anushtutat.
Anushtitat.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Svabhavaniyatam
Svayabhanittayam
karma.
karma.
Kurvannapnodi kilbisham.
Purvan naptoti
Kurvannapoti
kilbisam.
kilbisam.
Please recite if you can.
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha.
Shreyan
Shreyan
Swadharmo
Sarvadharma
Vigunaha.
Viguna.
Paradharmatsva Anushtitat.
Paradharmat so
Paradharmat
Anushtidat.
Swabhava Nityam Niyatam Karma.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Kurvannapoti kilbisam.
Kurvannapnodi kilbisham.
Shreyan Swadharma Viguna.
Shreyan Swadharmo
Swadharmo
Vigunaha.
Viguna.
Paradharma Swa Anushtutat.
Paradharmat so
Paradharmatsva
Anushtidat.
Anushtitat.
Svabhavaniyatam karma.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Svabhavaniyadam karma.
Purvan napoti krisbitam.
Kurvannapnodi kilbisham.
Kurvannapoti kilbisam.
Shreyan Sarvadharmo Vigunaha
Shreyan
Shreyan
Swadharmo
Swadharmo
Vigunaha.
Viguna.
Pardharmat Swanustitat
Paradharmat
Paradharmatsva
Anushtidat.
Anushtitat.
Sabhavo Niyatam Karma
Svabhavaniyadam
Svabhavaniyadam
karma.
karma.
Purvan Nanopti Kilbisham
Kurvannapnodi
Kurvannapoti
kilbisham.
kilbisam.
Anybody else? Okay. So we'll go word by word meaning. Synonyms. Shreyan, better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead. Swadharma, one's
Swadharma,
own, one's own occupation.
one's own occupation.
Vigunaha,
Viguna,
imperfectly performed.
imperfectly performed.
Paradharma,
Paradharma,
done another's occupation.
then another's occupation.
Su anishtidad,
Suanistita,
perfectly done.
perfectly done.
Swabhava niyadam,
Swabhava niyatam,
prescribed according to one's nature.
prescribed according to one's nature.
Karma, work.
Karma, work.
Karma, work.
Kurvan, performing.
Kurvan, performing.
Na, never.
Na, never.
No, never.
Abnodi, achieves.
Apnoti,
Apnoti.
achieves.
Kilbisham, sinful reactions.
Kilbisham,
Kilbisham, sinful
sinful
reactions.
reactions.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Translation. So please repeat after me. It is better to engage in one's own occupation,
It is better to engage in one's own occupations,
even though one may perform it imperfectly,
even though one may perform it imperfectly,
than to accept another's occupation
than to accept another's occupation
and perform it perfectly.
and perform it perfectly.
Duties prescribed according to one's nature
Duties prescribed according to one's nature
are never affected by sinful reactions.
are never affected by the sinful reactions.
Perfect. Anybody would like to read? Please go ahead.
One's occupational duty is prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. As already discussed in previous words, the duties of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are prescribed according to their particular mode of nature. One should not imitate another's duty. A man who is by nature attached to the kind of the work done by the Shudra should not artificially claim to be a Brahmana, although he may have been born into the Brahmana family. In this way, one should not work according to his own nature. No work is abominable. If performed in the service of the Supreme Lord, the occupational duty of a Brahmana is certainly in the mode of the goodness. But if the person is not by the nature in the mode of the goodness, he should not imitate the occupational duty of the Brahmana. For a Kshatriya or administrator, there are so many abnormal things. A Kshatriya has to be violent to kill his enemy. And sometimes a Kshatriya has to tell lie for the sake of the diplomacy. Such violence and duplicity accompany a political affair. But a Kshatriya is not supposed to give up his occupational duty and try to perform the duty of the Brahmana. One should act to satisfy the Supreme Lord. For example, Arjuna was a Kshatriya. He was hesitating to fight the other party. But if such fighting is performed for the sake of the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, there need be no fear of degradation. In the business field also, sometimes a merchant has to tell so many lies to make a profit. If he does not do so, there can be no profit. Sometimes a merchant says, "Oh, my dear customer, for you I am making no profit." But one should know that without profit, the merchant cannot exist. Therefore, it should be taken as a simple lie if a merchant says that he is not making a profit. But the merchant should not think that because he is engaged in the occupation in which the telling of a lie is compulsory, he should give up his profession and pursue the profession of a Brahmana. That is not recommended. Wherever one is a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Shudra, does not matter. If he serves by his work the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, even Brahmana, who performs a different type of the sacrifice, sometimes must kill animal, because sometimes animals are sacrificed in such ceremonies. Similarly, if a Kshatriya engaged in his own occupation, killing an enemy, there is no sin occurred. In the third chapter, the matters have been clearly and elaborately explained. Every man should work for the purpose of yajna or for the Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anything done for the personal sense gratification is a cause of the bondage. The conclusion is that everyone should be engaged according to the particular mode of nature he has acquired, and he should decide to work only to serve the supreme cause of the Supreme Lord.
Jai. Thank you, Jayprakash, for reading that long purport. Thank you so much. We'll conclude. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjanasalagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Dadadhi Swapadandigam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapadagammalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhuidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalidam Sri Vishakhanidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktum Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinamadidabastu Ma Vidushavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining today after a small break of Yamakada. So we were going through this chapter, this 18th chapter, which is titled as The Perfection of Renunciation. So many wonderful speakers mentioned about, and we went through in detail. This is a systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. So went in detail, what is the significance of the Supreme Lord, the Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the perfection of renunciation, Karma Sannyasa. So this is exactly the essence of this chapter, or the first portion, first section of this chapter is revealing the importance of that, how we should act in this world. So many times people think that, okay, I can do anything I want. So I can put myself, I can do anything I want. There is no problem. I can, stay away from all these things and I'll be so happy. So, but after all, up to 17th chapter, the Supreme Lord is revealing so many aspects of the life. So many. How we should act, how we should work, what are the various kinds of work, and how one should understand that we have eternal nature, we are the spiritual entities, we are Krishna conscious entities, we are part and parcel of the Supreme. That Supreme Lord is controlling everything. He is Ishvara, he is the Supreme Controller. And then there is Jiva, we are all part and parcel of the Supreme, that's called Jiva or Atma. Then also Lord explains very detailed about the material nature, that the Prakriti and how this Prakriti is external energy. And then all the living entities are part of his internal energy, or is categorized as his marginal potency of the Lord. Then there is also karma, that how one should act accordingly to laws of this nature. And then there is also eternal time, the kala, that time devours everything. So there is transcendental truth. Bhagavad Gita is revealing all these transcendental truths to us. And in fact, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, revealing this to Arjuna, because of Arjuna was completely in a dilemma, completely in a situation where he does not know what to do and what not to do. So dear devotees, this is a perfect, wonderful knowledge, transcendental knowledge for all of us. All the people in this world, all the humanity. That's why Bhagavad Gita is the greatest text in the world. Everybody can understand their constitutional position and what to do and what not to do, and how one can attain that spiritual nature or transcendental nature just by understanding this Bhagavad Gita. That's why Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD of the spiritual science, or the basic understanding of the spiritual science. So this chapter is concluding that up to this 1 to 17, that concluding that whatever Krishna spoke in a very, very elaborate manner, and what the essence of what Krishna was speaking. So how one should situate in such a Krishna conscious way, and how one should perform his activities. And that's why this chapter is titled Karma Sannyasa, or the perfection of renunciation. So how one should act, how one should live, how one should endeavor, what are the things are involved in it. So Arjuna asked this question, oh Krishna, can you please tell me that what is sannyasa or what is tyaga? So in the renunciation, or the renouncing the order of life, that's called sannyasa. And what is tyaga? Renunciation. So Krishna is revealing and giving the reply to Arjuna, that, oh Arjuna, that renouncing the material activities based on the material desires is called sannyasa. Renouncing, or giving up the material activities, giving up all material activities based on the material desires, is called renounced order of life, or the sannyasa. And also Krishna revealing that tyaga means that means that giving up all the fruits of the material activities. Giving up all the fruits of the material activities. One is the activities which based on the material desires, and then the second one is the fruits of that material activities one. So this is where our complete bondage, dear devotees. Either we are completely entangled with our material activities, so that we can enjoy, or we desire, we have so much of desires to enjoy this material world, so we entangled, we engaged in this so many material activities. So then it entangles us into this material world. Other thing is, actually we are so much desires for the fruitivorous results, that I will do this so that I get this one, so I enjoy. So our world is pretty much surrounded by these two things: our activities and the desires of our activities. Okay, the activities, the material activities, and the desires of our activities, which devours us, which entangles us, which takes us to the the fallen, conditioned life. So in order to come out from it, in order to come to the pure platform of the the humanity, in order to come to the pure platform of spiritual nature, so one can elevate himself to that platform where he can eternally happy. He is not entangled. He is not completely lost his consciousness. He's completely lost his constitutional position. He is not conditioned anymore if we follow this. That's why in order to give one a happy life, in order to give the perfection of his life, in order to purify his existence, in order to relieve from his entanglement, in order to take him out from these clutches of this material world, the samsara chakra, Lord is revealing to us. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and in this chapter which is revealing like that. So then we come to this section. right? Then in the beginning itself that Krishna is revealing that one should not give up the penance, sacrifice, and charity. And then there are in various, according to Krishna is mentioning that one who does not follow the scriptural injunctions or not in a devotional platform, he would be following through, he will be acting according to the modes of material nature. So when a person in the modes of material nature, either in the goodness or in the passion or in the ignorance, he act accordingly. His understanding will be accordingly if a person depends on his modes of material nature. As Krishna says that, Mama Maya Dhurataya, Devi Yesha Gudamai Mamaya Dhurataya. That means every living entities are under this modes of material nature. And it's very difficult to overcome. And everybody, in all respect, their activities are based on this. Their activities are based on this modes of material nature. If they are not completely into the devotional platform, so when they are not into the devotional platform and they are under the spell of these modes of material nature, then they go through so many activities. So either their work in mode of goodness, work in mode of passion, work in mode of ignorance. Their knowledge in mode of goodness, their mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Their understanding in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So in the previous verses and all, how there are, how what is motivate an action, the knowledge, the object of knowledge, the knower, which are all motivate the action. And also there are 5 factors involved into it. The performer, that the soul and the desires and the time, and then the super soul, the Paramatma involved into it, and then the desires, material desires involved into it, then the endeavor also. So these all different factors come to do this activity. So how it is coming? Because of a person in the different modes of material nature when he is in this material world. So then Krishna says that, in the last section of it, Krishna is revealing that is based on these modes of material nature, their varna and asrama, he actually engaged in his work, various kinds of work. So we saw that a person in the mode of goodness perform the activity accordingly. A person in the mode of passion, he is, very aggressive and he does that activity accordingly. And then a person mode of ignorance, he does so many abominable activities. Person in the mode of goodness, he always, their consciousness is very good, and he goes through the scriptural injunctions. He goes through as per the injunctions and the scriptural references and directions which is revealed by the acharyas and the devotees. So they follow that. But on the other hand, a person in the mode of passion neither follows this scriptural injunctions, or rather he always go as per his own desires and his own will, and he does the activity accordingly. A person in the mode of ignorance neither follow any scriptures, neither according to the instructions, but all he does is actually against the scriptural injunctions, against the scripture, and also accordingly that he derives certain kinds of happiness. A person in the mode of goodness, happiness, initially it is follows that which is derived. It seems like it's a poison, but at the end it gives us like a nectar at the end. So he derives such a happiness. He takes the activity accordingly. So it leads to his happiness. But on the person in the mode of passion, initially maybe in the happiness, and whatever the activity he does, he likes. Okay, it gives me lots of pleasure and happiness, but the end it is a pain. It is not a happiness. That's a kind of happiness which derives from the mode of passion. And then there is a mode of ignorance, neither this happiness nor this, and he's always in the abominable or always in the painful situations. So there are various ways Krishna is revealing that our activity, our thoughts, our understanding, our endeavor, our activity or sacrifices, charity and penances, all is actually according to our modes of material nature. So it is there. So then Krishna says that also Krishna reveals that according to these modes of quality or guna and karma, the activities and the qualities of the person, they engage these various kinds of work. That's why Krishna mentioned that in the previous 43 to 46 verses, he's revealing that the quality of a Varna ashrama system. So Krishna mentioned that Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Bhagasham Tat Kartaram Vidhi Kartaram Avyayam Tat Kartaram Abhimam Vidhi Kartaram Avyayam. Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Bhagasham. Chadurvarnyam, these four kinds of society, orders of social orders of life, is called social orders of life, is created by the Krishna himself, depends upon their guna, quality. Quality means that modes of material nature, guna, and then karma, their activities. So a person in the mode of goodness, then their activities are also accordingly in the mode of goodness. So their category is generally known as the brahmanas, those who are intelligent person. And then the mode of passion, they are aggressive, there are so much attachment, there are so much of bondage, and they are always desiring for their fruity results. They are, in the category of a Kshatriya. But it's mentioned that in the quality of a Brahmana, also Krishna reveals that astikyam, right? Shauchyam, cleanness, astikyam, study of Vedic injunctions, and always in the practice peacefulness. And there are 9 qualities which Krishna is revealing for the Brahmanas, or those who are in the mode of goodness, and their activity as per the mode of goodness. So this was actually originated from Krishna. Krishna is arranged all this, and as per the quality of this, people are in the mode of goodness and their activity. So there is a Brahmin class, or the social order of life, and they are actually situated in such a way that they can. I think there are sound, background sound. Can we mute, please? So then accordingly, there are classifications based on their quality and the guna. So we saw that there is a Kshatriya. They have 6 qualities. Generally, the Lord Krishna is revealing their, their chivalrous, their courage and their strength and their determination. The battlefield, all those things are revealed in the quality of a Kshatriya. And then quality of a Vaishya and the quality of a Shudra also mentioned that in the previous sections. So the greatest point after that, Krishna is revealing that in the by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all being and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So the most important point here, doesn't matter whatever the category you are, whether it is Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, or Shudra, or a Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasa. This is the Varna and Asrama. And any of this social order or any of these ashramas, anybody. So all purpose of all this to understand why we are doing this activity, and why and what is the object of, or what is the objective of our performing these activities. So Krishna is revealing into the previous verse that by worshipping the Lord in any of these, like just for an example, like we know that the human body, right? Human body has a lot of parts, especially there is head, there are hands, there are belly, and there are legs. So these are the different parts of the body. So Krishna is mentioning that, like that, the Varna Ashrama systems are also similarly part of a system, so that everybody can be together and to perform and to one goal. This is the objective of the Varnasrama system, so that everybody together can perform one activity, or their objective, their goal is to perform loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That is the system, that is the understanding, that is called the ultimate goal of this Varnasrama system. So otherwise, think about that. Everybody is actually, into the class of just working, and there is no teachers, there is no, good qualified brahmanas. So what would happen to that such society? So we can see that current status of this world. So this Varnasrama system is gone. When the Varnasrama system is gone, there is no proper qualified brahmanas. So what happens? The society is going into so many abominable directions. They don't know what is the goal of life. Their thinking is that only thing, just work for their sense gratification, sleeping, mating, eating, and defending. This is the goal of the life now. Why? Because of this, the system of that, the Varnasrama system is not there. When there are educated, qualified, those who are in the mode of goodness, they were there, they were guiding the society in some point of time in this history of our nation. Everything was perfect, so they had a goal. So when they say, when something is wrong, the Brahmana is there to address and put that question mark and question, and then address that with the help of others, and then that would eradicate. We know that when in the story of Ramayana, and then Ramachandra Bhagavan, like Vishwamitra came when the demons are obstructing and giving a lot of troubles for all these sacrifices, devotional activities. And then Vishwamitra could come and get the help from the Ramachandra Bhagavan, from Dasharatha. So then eradicated such abominable things. So such kinds of guidance were there in the society. So nowadays it's not there. So we can see that where the world is going. So everybody has a one motto, only one goal, one objective. Just somehow or other, just to satisfy our senses, just to fulfill our sensual desires. And that's the goal of the life right now. So we can imagine that where the world is becoming more hellish and hellish because of the selfish desires and selfish activities are growing day by day. There are wars, there are battles, there are, so many people in even these in the family, in the country, they don't have any kinds of the dharma. Dharma is lost. So in this age of Kali, that's another symptom of Kali. The Kali or this world is standing only on one leg, only on one leg. So that one leg is actually, there are little bit of truth. All this charity, all these sacrifices and penances are gone. So see that why Krishna is revealing and why it is this chapter is so much applicable to us now, right now, because of the sacrifice is gone, the charity is gone, and the penances are gone. Everybody is now, little bit of truth is there. That's what is, the Kali is standing on one leg, only on one leg, and that will also diminish towards the end of this age of Kali. So then what happens? There is nothing left. So even truthfulness won't be left there. Because of little bit of truthfulness is there, and then this world is running. I will tell this one fact of it. When the Ganges, Mother Ganges come down to earth, that Bhagirath did a great severe penance to bring Mother Ganges to the subterranean planets or the Patala Loka in order to liberate Bhagirath's forefathers known as Sagaras. So Bhagirath did so much of penance, thousands of years of penance he did. Finally, Mother Ganges appeared before Bhagirath and mentioned, and Bhagirath was so happy because of all this penance. But Mother Ganges put a one condition. So what would happen if I come down on this earth? Every sinful man will come and take bath, and then I'll be completely polluted, and what would happen to me? So when Mother Ganges mentioned this to Bhagirath, Bhagirath didn't have any answer, but thought for a minute and mentioned that, yes, by the grace of the Lord, dear Mother Ganges, that there will be devotees. When the devotees are there, when they come and take bath in the Ganges, they would purify this, they would, eradicate all these sinful reactions from you. So this is the power of, this is the purity of the devotees, dear devotees. So Mother Ganges agreed upon it. And Mother Ganges said, the moment the devotees are living on this planet, there are no more devotees on this planet, I would also disappear. I will not stay back on this planet, on the Mother Earth. So this is the greatness of the devotees, dear devotees. So the point I was trying to make, because of some truthfulness, because of some dharma is remaining on this planet, then, things will be a little more good. Then after that, again, there won't be even truthfulness. There won't be any dharma. Everything will be in, ruined. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that next 10,000 years is a golden age, so that we can all have this devotional opportunity, devotional platform where we can come and chant the holy name. We can become the devotees of the Supreme Lord. So the point is here, when all these activities, now these Varna, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is therefore to one purpose. Like all the parts of the body serving that entire body, So when the body is there, then the soul is peaceful and the soul can engage in the loving devotional service. So then attain the Supreme Lord. So like that, when this system is there, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, they together, so they can perform and they can all for one purpose, that they can worship the Supreme Lord. They can remember the Supreme Lord, so that the social order is peaceful and in harmony. Otherwise, it is not in harmony, right? So now when the things are now, there is no varnasrama system, everybody is selfish. Everybody is trying to become so and so. So then what happens when we take up the other's occupation and then we imperfectly doing, and that's all sinful, we can see that what is happening, what is this chaos in this world. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that the last version, this Srila Prabhupada says that everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Hrishikesha. That means everybody is having some kinds of activities by the mercy of the Supreme Lord called Rishikesha. Rishikesha means one who is the controller of the senses, the master of the senses. And by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. So in any activity, anything. So people say that, okay, you are doing this work, so you are not supposed to. That's wrong. So there are so many, because of so many political, incorrectness, that there are so many years that so many people are actually, rejected and or kept aside from worshipping the Supreme Lord. That's all this all political motivation. Otherwise, there is no reason for any of these things. There is the system which Krishna is revealed that everybody is supposed to do, everybody is supposed to worship the Supreme Personality. That's the goal of their life. That's the way everybody get perfect. Doesn't matter which varna, which is which word or which we are, what we are doing. So Srila Prabhupada says that should worship. If one thinks always in this way, in full Krishna conscious, then by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. So Krishna reveals to him. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 12.7, Tesha Maham Samudrartha. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such devotee. Doesn't matter where and which position, which social order you are. But in any work, so every work is valued. Every work has a value. Every work is respected. And every work should be respected. No matter what, whether it is who is doing what, whether it is man or male or female, in the social order. So we have these different various categories, put together. That is just their work, but not actually the dharma. Dharma is actually mentioned that dharmastu sakshal bhagavad pranita. So dharma of all this varna and the asrama, the society, is to worship that Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the highest perfection of life. If whatever occupation one may be engaged, if one serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. So, dear devotees, this is the goal, this is the objective, and this is the principle of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And that is based on Srimad Bhagavad. This is not that just Srila Prabhupada or somebody just made up. This is Krishna's order, Krishna's instruction, just following that. Then we came to this verse, 47th verse. It says that it is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Always remember this. So duties prescribed according to one's own nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Then we may ask this question, how do we know that what is my duty and which is not? So dear devotees, we know that. So we all are taking birth in this world. So nobody by birth gets this any kind of varna. Nobody, becoming a Brahman by just birth. And there is a ritualistic process. And it's called Brahmana is known as twice born. Also Kshatriya is also known as twice born. So like that, so there is a way that one can completely purified. So depends on their quality that one gets that opportunity. Suppose we know that there are so many occupations here in this world. So even we can see that a child born in a Brahmana family takes up the service of a Shudra because of that is what his quality is. That's what his nature is. So we know that even in our temple, where we have so many Brahman initiated devotees, but they are not so interested. There are 70 plus Brahman initiated devotees, but hardly 25 or 30 devotees come for the service. Why? Because of they don't have that taste. They don't have that quality. They don't put up their service properly. Like there is a mantras to be chanted. Even they try, they cannot by heart that mantra. Even though they try, they don't get that purity. Even though they try that, they don't come to that state of. So this is the difference. So everybody comes up, anybody takes up birth in this world, they come to that point of they like some certain kinds of work. Like for an example, if we enroll children in this, universities and the college, some like mathematics, some like physics, some like biology, some like some kinds of art, some works, artisans work, some may be construction work, some may be engineering. Why? Because of this is their nature, this is their taste. So like that, everybody come to that point in one point of their life that what is their quality. So a person, even in any, take a birth in this world. So there are so many, we know that so many wonderful devotees, even in South Africa, we have beautiful Brahmanas there. They are worshipping in the temple and they are so dedicated. Even all over the places, all over the country, Germany, South Africa, Canada, even so many places. And there is no that, we cannot say they're born in a Brahmana family like a typical caste Brahmana. But they are all wonderful Brahmanas. They take up the service. We know that the DT ministry is run by, so many wonderful, qualitative, wonderful Vaishnavas. And they know how to chant the mantra properly. And in Mayapur Institute, if you go there, pretty much teaching all this Brahmanical method is actually by all these Western devotees. They didn't take birth this so-called, the Brahmin family. But by the quality they acquired, they come up to that point. So even though we have this designation, they have this title, but unless you have this quality, you are not supposed to. That's why, that's why Krishna is revealing here. According to your quality, according to your nature, according to your occupation, that one's occupation, that's why he says that one's own occupation. So if you are good in Brahmanically, you're good in chanting mantra, if you're good in performing rituals, good in performing, teaching this Krishna consciousness to others, you're good in learning this science of Krishna consciousness, you're good into, this Krishna consciousness in a devotional platform, that's your occupation. So you have to engage into that kind of occupation, then you can excel. When you do that, even if there are some mistakes, there is no sin in it. But in other hand, even though you are in a Brahmin family, but you are so much qualified, to do things like, in fighting, or you are so strengthful, you go to gym, you make up, okay, let me make my body so physique, I can fight, I can accumulate so much of strength to my hands and the body, and then I can fight and I can join. So this is the quality of that person. So he's more on that Kshatriya. He is very, very, very strong, powerful. He can in administrative, he is so political, and he can go and do so many things to manage this world, rule this country. And this is their occupation. So naturally, some point of time, they will come to that point and they will take up that service because they cannot do the Brahmanical services. Because of that, need so much of other, quality. When that quality is not, and come to this position of that he can do, fighting, he can do so many things, he can act in the political situations, he can administrative, and he can do things very systematically, he is very organized, and so many things. We know that so many politicians, right? They work very hard and so many things, just like that. So we know that there are so many, they come to that point. So this is called the Kshatriyas. So they know what to do. So even though they do their activity accordingly, then there is no sin when they do it. Even though they do it imperfectly. We know that there are so many people come to the Vaishya. Even though they are born in Brahmanas, we know that there are so many business organizations run by Brahmanas, the Brahmin people. Because even though they're born in that family, the so-called caste Brahmin family, but they are running so many business because they are good at it. They are not good at chanting mantra. They are not good at waking up in the morning. They are not good at chanting the holy name. They are not good at reading the scriptures or telling this to the scriptures to others. And they are not good at all these Brahmanical qualities. But they are good at running a business. They know how to make profit. They know how to where to apply all these things. They're running this. So because of that's their quality. Even though they took birth in this Brahmin family, but they took these services of, this merchanting or this selling products or the business. So that's their quality. So we know that when that quality, like so many people, then other hand, even there are some people, even Vaishya community or the Vaishya community, even though they are born there, they have the quality of a Brahmana. Even though they do their business, they will all fall. They will all fail. We know that Srila Prabhupada did some business. But Srila Prabhupada didn't do some well and then completely lost all these things. But Srila Prabhupada's quality is purely Brahmanical quality. It doesn't help. It doesn't work. So this is the way the world goes, dear devotees. So some are there and good in that. So one should take up that service. If we are good at some services, we should take up that service and perform it. And then what happens? Then that there is no sinful reactions for that, even though it is does it imperfectly. So this is that we can have that quality and the nature we can understand then due course of time. And then like that, the Shudra caste, they are very good at, doing services to so many areas, right? So many areas, service areas, right? Do things. So they are, very good at, but they are not good at, chanting mantras or ritualistic process or worshipping deities. They are not good at. They are not, clean in such some ways, and they have to work. But that doesn't mean that they are lower or higher or anything like that. This is all part of the one body. And they are working together in order to achieve, in order to have that one goal, one objective that, to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what is revealing here. So duties prescribed according to one's nature. So these duties are prescribed according to this is everyone's nature. That's what is we end up. Like we know that, especially when it comes to the Krishna consciousness, like this International Society for Krishna, after they develop this quality, they chant the holy name, they read the scriptures, they come to the services, they engage in the devotional services. And after some point of time, they are well versed with the scriptures. They started to preach. They come to that quality of Brahmana. They come to the quality of doing service. So they understand the purpose of these various services. Even some may be, distributing the books on the road, right? And some may be preaching, some may be cleaning up this is the one person who's completely come to that platform of devotional service, and then his occupational duty is completely, this is called Deva Varna Asrama, Deva Varnasrama, Devi Varnasrama. That means he understands the purpose of his activity. So now it is not an activity, it's not a duty, it's not a karma anymore. It is all the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So all this up to this point of time, we are supposed to work as per that our own occupational duty. But when one who understands the purpose of all this and one who engages in the loving devotional service of the Lord, then he sees everything. He transcends everything. All this activity, he transcends. He doesn't mind cleaning up the floors. That doesn't come to any of the category, but it is loving devotional service, which is known as Pada Sevanam of the Supreme Lord. When he make up the garland, when he cooks, right? Usually the cooks are actually considered in the olden systems are actually, either in the Vaishya or, kind of community, or some are in the Brahmin community. But those who are selling products, so many temples have, gift shops and selling products. So we don't consider as they are in the Vaishya community. They are serving the Lord. They are in the Vaishnava platform. So even though all these varna and asrama are there, and that's why, in even Srila Prabhupada was very keen on it. If some are good at preaching, Srila Prabhupada assigned that devotee to the preaching. Some are good at, the sacrifices and puja and all. And some are very good at speaking. Some are very good at, constructing the temple, cart,
The Mexican. 1 mile long from a temple is a huge Mexican. So he said, I'm thinking of.
Hare Krishna. So there are so many ways that we can see all this, right? So that so it's very important that whatever it is we are situated in good at, we do that perfectly and don't take up others. It's like, just for an example, whimsically, like some people are very good at doing this Radhyatra cart and making cart and all, but they are not good at. They are very good at doing that. So then let them do that, right? Srila Prabhupada, let them do that, because that is not inferior or superior. Even cleaning the toilet, in the for the loving devotional service, not inferior. This is the highest service. Right? As we know that, there are so many situations where the Lord is served by the devotees, which is such a loving devotion. And Lord doesn't discriminate that this is a small service, this is a higher service. Like for a squirrel, like in the Ramachandra, Lord Ramachandra, when a squirrel shows that squirrel is putting some sand on the bridge they are making, and squirrel, Lord was so happy and so satisfied with that service which squirrel does. So according to their capacity, whatever the service which you perform to the Supreme Lord, Lord will be completely pleased with that. For the Lord, it is the love that which we offer to the Lord. Doesn't see that you are doing this, oh, this is an menial service, this is an inferior. There is nothing like that. So Devi Varnasrama system is the Srila Prabhupada wanted to indulge and apply to our society is that everybody is whatever the good at it, do that service, and but that with that complete understanding of that this is the service of the Supreme Lord. Then we goes beyond these modes of nature, goes beyond this Varnasrama, this regular Varnasrama, but we come to that Devi Varnasrama system with the one complete the goal, the objective is that to serve the Supreme. So why the Lord is revealing here to understand so everything will be come to that one point of that, to the objective of that everybody should be engaged in the service of the soul. It will be so perfect. If you are qualified to do certain things, do that, so it will be perfect. And if you are not qualified to do something and don't do it, that's what it's exactly saying, that you are very good at selling books, do that. If you are very good at cooking, so do that. If you are very good at preaching, do that. But don't indulge in which you are not good at it. So, but at the same time, you can do the other services. We can all do the other services to please the Krishna. That's why Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Bhalam Doyam Yome Bhaktiya Prayachat. Even there is little water, which is a flower, and Patram is a leaf, Bhalam, a fruit, is offered with the love. So whatever the service we do, that offer with the love, and this is exactly that we are supposed to do in our life. So this is what is the message to the community, to the world. Whatever you are do it as an offering to me, O Arjuna. Yat karoshi yadasnas yas jugosi dadasiyas yas tapasyasi kaudeya tat kurusham madarpanam. This is the core principles of this perfection of renunciation, that whatever we do, we should not attach to that. And we should not bound by it. So if you are so much attached to the fruits of that, what the activity we do, then we entangle by it. Or the activity which we do itself, we are entangled to it and we create the bondage. But understanding that all the activities are meant to please the Supreme Lord. What is that mentioned? Sam Suddhar Hari Toshanam. Sam Siddhar Hari Toshanam. All this is actually for one purpose, that to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sam Siddhar Hari Toshanam, to please the Lord. So it doesn't matter whatever. So do that activity good. And if you're good at your activity, you go to the office, do nicely and good. Then it creates the results and offer the results to the Supreme Lord. The devotees, that's the message. And this is called Tyaga. This is called Sannyasa. It's not that we should go to the forest. This is not that, we should leave everything. That's not renunciation. That is just Markada Vairagya, or just a monkey renunciation. But actually, when understanding this, situating in one's own that occupation, when it actually transcends all those, understanding all I am doing is to please the Supreme Lord, Samsiddha Hari Toshanam, then everything will become transcend, and that's the perfection of a life that we can attain. So with this note, I would end here, dear devotees. Thank you so much and for staying there. And we are going through this detailed study of this Bhagavad Gita, the systematic study. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Simhesvara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Okay, good. Thank you for your class.
Thank you.
Several times in the class you mentioned about worshiping the Supreme. Can you elaborate what you mean by worship to the Supreme?
Yeah, Supreme is us.
Yeah, it's a Krishna, that's fine. But the particular word worship, I like to get clarified from you.
Right. Worshipping means the loving devotional service is I meant by worshipping. That means engaging in loving devotional service. Worship means to please the Supreme Lord. Worship literally means to please the Supreme Lord in all our activities. So there is 9 processes of bhakti: Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. If we are engaging in any of these activities, which is worshipping the Supreme Lord, any worship is meant to please the Supreme Lord. Worship means Aradhana. Aradhya Devo, Sri Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, Bhagavan Vajendra Nandan. Aradhya. Worship literally means Aradhana or Aradhya. So Aradhana means engaging in the loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So in any occupation we are, in any conditions we are, if we are worshipping, if we are able to worship, if we are engaging in the loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, so that is the meaning of, that is the purpose of our life. Not that, I am doing this, I am doing this, I am doing this. Worship the Supreme in whichever the capacity you are, either hearing this, the glories of the Supreme Lord, or you have some articles, bring that articles, offer the bhoga, offer the agarbatti, offer the lamb, offer the flowers, offer the fruits, offer everything as an offering to me. Offer everything we can offer to Krishna. When we chant the holy name, offer to Krishna, chanting the holy name to please the Lord. Hearing the glories of Krishna is pleasing the Lord. To chant the, or teaching or talking about Krishna is to please the Lord. So everything, Krishna is in the center. So that's mean by the worship. So when we have the Aradhana or Aradhya Bhagavan Krishna, when we engage accordingly, so that is considered as worshipping the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Thank you for the wonderful question. Very nice. So anybody else?
It was very clear and we understand whatever we have a capacity, so we can serve Krishna.
Yes. Whatever we are, whatever the capacity, you don't worry about, I am that, I am this, I am this, I am those. Oh, I am not qualified, I am not. No, we are all serving one. Like, the hands are serving the entire body. The mouth is serving the entire body. The legs are serving the entire body. The bellies are serving the entire body. Think that one day, the hands is striking, I'm not going to work anymore. So what is happening to that entire body? Or mouth is saying that I'm not going to take the food anymore. So what would happen to the body? So this is what it is. So this whole system, these all cosmic creations under the directions of the Supreme Lord. So as Srila Prabhupada says that in the purport, by the mercy of Rishikesha, we are getting some kinds of occupation based upon our quality and the nature. So we get it. That's why we are living in this world. Think that, we don't have anything because we are a dumb. So think that we are dumb. We cannot do anything. So what would happen to us? We have this capability, we have hearing capability, we have all this, which is the mercy of the Lord. Then we have something to do in this life. That's also mercy of the Lord. So when we understand this, okay, let me do whatever I do. But that all that as an offering to Krishna, that this is Krishna giving me, all my purpose, we know that in the olden days, there is a pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a great devotee of the Lord called Kalavacha Sridhar. Kalavacha Sridhar, he was just selling the banana leaf. All he gets is just 25 anna or 25 paisa or 50 paisa. That's it. All he was doing is actually collecting these leaves from different people's place, bringing into the market and selling these banana leaves for little small price. So and even that little price or little profit, even he gets it, that he is using for the worshipping the Supreme Lord. Buying certain things and offering to the Supreme Lord. He just take it, all that he does. So all his lifetime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this, he was so wonderful. One day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Kalavacha Sridhar and requested, can I buy a banana leaf? How much is your price? So when Kalavacha Sridhar saw the Supreme Lord and buying this, and Kalavacha Sridhar understand, how can I take money from this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forcefully gave some paisa for the price of that banana leaf. Then what happened? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Kalavacha Sridhar. Even that little service, menial service he does, but all that occupation he's doing, little these take for his own maintenance, and then rest is actually utilizing for the service of the Lord, to worship the Supreme Lord, worship the Mother Ganges. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the perfection of life. Embrace that Kalavacha Sridhar. and he's not in a Brahmin class or Brahmin community, but he was selling banana leaves. So the likes that there are so many pastimes in Jagannath Puri. There is one milk, vendor, and who was selling the milk on the road. One day even Jagannath came directly because of that. Devotee was always chanting the holy name of Krishna. And this Jagannath came personally to get that buttermilk from that lady. There is a story, there's a drama we play in the temple for that. We know that there is a shoemaker. Shoemaker was always, he does very happily does his work. What he does, he always chant his holy name. One time he saw that there is a Brahmin came. He saw that a Salagram Shila, he is actually using the Salagram Shila to polish his shoes. So the Brahmin was so upset. So he took the Salagram Shila back to his home. But he's just doing this little bit service to that. And he is so much of, his own, the caste, Brahminical nature. So then one day the Salagram Shila said that, I'm not happy here. So, but this shoemaker, always chanting the holy name and always chanting Hare Krishna, while doing anything, he's doing Hare Krishna. And then the Lord was so happy with it. But Lord was not happy with that, the residence of this Brahmana, but he was happy with that, the shoemaker. So dear devotees, this is the essence of all. Doesn't matter. So everybody is subject to, everybody is entitled to, everybody is designated to worship the Supreme Lord in whatever the means, whatever the capacity they are. And this is the essence of our life. And this is called dharma. This is called the we have this very wrong political motivation that's completely kind of changed all this Varna and Ashram system. But otherwise, everybody was living so peacefully and happily. And when a person understands the essence of the scripture and what Krishna is revealing to this. So this is called Tyaga. And this, no matter what you do, and you are not bound by the results of that activities. You are completely engaged in the worship and the remembrance of the Supreme Lord. So this helps. And anyway, that's what is we need to do. That's what it is. So when we come and purely in pure devotional platform, when we transcend all this, then we come to that Devi Varnasrama system. That's what Srila Prabhupada wanted to apply in this Krishna conscious society. Then everybody become very always that in the consciousness of the Supreme Lord while performing all these wonderful services to the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji, for having that realization.
Haribol. Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and Dandavat Pranam to everyone. Very nicely explained about the occupational duty and everything. I have sometimes I have a doubt about this.
Please go ahead.
One builder, say real estate builder.
Yeah.
They build one house. That is the market value is there.
Yeah.
But some customer, she saw that he is very eager to buy that particular home, but market value is different, same market value, but he is eager to buy that particular house. The weak point, say that builder raise that house value and thinking that I'll give the money, extra money to the Lord. Suppose. So what will be that situation? That is the cheating, or what will be the appropriate?
So that the builder is thinking that, okay, I will raise the price of this home so that I get some extra money. Then that money I will give to the Lord to bribe the Lord, or with the full heart that I would engage in the service of the Lord. I mean, what is the intention?
So there is two way. The bribe the Lord is the different thing, Prabhu. I don't I give that money to Lord also. Lord.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's one of the part. But question is that he got the weak point of the buyer.
Yeah.
Is the price.
Yeah.
So what will be in that situation? What will be the
Okay.
appropriate action.
Okay, so here, so they are doing a business, right? The builder build a house, if they sell the house, he's doing a business. And exactly Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the purport that the merchant say, oh, for you I don't make any profit, so I'm just giving it to you. So these are little lies are there, little tricks and the place. So in order to do the business, right? So whatever it is, so it is their occupation. It is the way to they do the business. So whatever the occupation which is assigned to them, what is they are good at it, there is not much wrong in it, or that's the way of business does. That's what is this the market goes, this world goes, right? So that's the way it is. So this is the class, this is the merchant class, this is the Vaishya class or the business class. They do these things like accordingly. So yes, it's a good that he offered that money, whatever it is offered to the Lord, so that he understand. Yes, I have to offer this to the Lord, some profit, and that's what is everybody. That's Srila Prabhupada says that when anybody is in the condition, anybody working here, Srila Prabhupada said 50% of his profit he should offer for the service of the Lord. Then 50% he should utilize for his own well-being and also his whoever the dependent upon him. So 50% should offer to the Lord, but with 50% of his profit, not that 50% of whatever it is getting it, and also that 50% of profit, that whatever it is, of course he has to take care of himself and his family is the first. And whatever is coming after that, the 50% of that, then he should also keep something for his future, well-being. So whatever it is, so a person does that. A person has that kind of understanding and realization. That's good. That means he is situated in real, position that he is, some way or other serving the Lord. So there is nothing wrong in that kind of approach, right? So he is making profit, and that's the way. That's the business. Everybody makes that way. It is. Everybody plays that some kind of trick or some kinds of lies. That's what is the business goes, right? Otherwise, business cannot sustain. If you are ultimately 100% truth, you cannot do. If you are 100% truthful and you don't know how to do the business, but your quality is like a Brahmana, that then they should do the work of a Brahmana rather than the business. So yeah, I mean, there is nothing wrong in it in terms of the way the business he does. And if you are offering that money to the Lord, that is wonderful. That's the way it is, and that is that is also part of dharma. So yeah, I mean, it is okay in my perspective that the business he does it, and that's the nature of the business. And then if you are offering the results to the Supreme Lord, then he somehow or other he understand why he is doing the business.
Yes, Prabhu, but my question is, in market rate, there he is getting the profit already, but on top of that, he raised the money too much that it is affecting the buyer also, right? My question is that he's getting the profit in the market rate. That is correct. But that he's getting the giving that taking the weak point of the buyer and getting the money. So that point I need to know from you, that it is appropriate or not.
I mean, it depends, right? It depends. We don't know what is the condition of. I mean, we assume everything, right? If we say, okay, market rate is this much, but we don't know what is the condition of the builder, or what he went through, or what he has went through, how much money he put it, or he thinks that, okay, if I get this much money, or then only, this whatever I spend is I get it. Or I mean, yes, this is business. This is entirely business. So there is no concrete rules in business, Prabhuji. It's all market value. We know that how the stock market works, right? It all depends on the demand, right? If the demand of the product is so high, naturally on the next day the price goes up, and the demand of this one is less, naturally it goes down. So this all depends upon the market. That depends upon that each situation, like that. So we cannot say completely that, okay, whether it is right or wrong. But in one sense, like in scripture says that, suppose if you are lending a money, you should not take more than certain percentage of that profit. If you do that, it's sinful. So if it is too greed or too much greedy, so that I can get so much of money, then I can enjoy myself, and beyond a certain limit of it, then that definitely is sinful activity. But there is a reasonable way, a reasonable thing that which is, and you mentioned that, okay, he's so much of hyping the prices, getting that all the profit, and he's trying to enjoy himself and things like that. Then say that's a sinful act that he's trying to do, because of he is also goes beyond certain limit. Yeah, there is a certain limit, everything. Like, scriptures reveals that even if you are lending a money, you should not take the interest certain limit beyond that. So it is there, even in olden times it was there. So if it is too much, and taking the advantage of, and then why that buyer should be like that? If he thinks that he is taking the advantage of, then why the buyer should go for it, right?
Yes, so you know that certain, I know that I got the point, Prabhu. You already told that scripture really told that certain percentage profit should take, and certain limit will be there. So that is very well. You explained very well way. So very good, Prabhu. Very, I got the point. But you are talking about that why buyer will go for that, because buyers buyer likes that particular home. You know that sometimes.
That's the value. That's what is exactly. If the buyer likes that, that's the value of that property, right? That's why we are paying for it. This is what is the world. If I like something, some people are there. If I like something, no matter what, they will pay 1,000 times, more than that. I know that there are so many people out there. So this is the material world, right? The give and take and things like that. And then we cannot compare, or we cannot put that those are all in a spiritual level, right? It's not in the spiritual level. So we have such a desire, such a greed, or such a desire to get that property because of I like it, because of the view is good, look is very good. There are so many rooms, there are so many opulences. And what is this? All happening on the material platform. So when something is on the material platform, and don't spiritualize it, okay, so what would happen to that? Because it's already anyway, it's a material entangled or chaos, a situation where you have a desire, I need that. So then the buyer should not ask, the builder should not ask for it. And buyer is seeing that you are so interested in it, you liked it. So this is the money. This is the where this business goes in this world, right? If you something like it, like many times you go to certain branded products, right? The branded products, that it's all same materials, but just because of that brand, you like it, that people raise that price for it. And you are so many people at that because of, so they can show that I have this branded products so that everybody sees, oh, I am so and so. This all happens, this all gives that subtle material pleasure. This is the world. When there is a subtle material pleasure to enjoy this world, then where is the point of it spiritualizing it? So there is no point of that profit and whether it is sin or not, because of this is actually the world. We are so much in Maya, and there everything comes into that. The Maya as well. The Maya's energy is working here. So it's full of, in one way also we are so much attached. Is our attachment. So attachment create what? The lust create the greed and anger and so many things, right? We are so attached to it. So we are so much attached to it. So that gives everything. So that action and reaction happens, right? This is the material world. This all happens in the material platform. But on the other hand, we when we have that, we pray to the Lord, oh Lord, I need a house, and that I can serve you. I can take this as house as, to worship the Lord. Also, I can invite the devotees. Please give me that. So then that is actually spiritual. And in that case, okay, there is a reasonable house. And the Lord, see that, this is reasonable of this price, but this devotee or this person is asking so much of it. And then when we have that kind of sincere intention to serve the Lord will make arrangement for all those, and it will all end up very nicely and peacefully, right? So you should think that way.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very nicely you explained. Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai. Anything else? Anybody else would like to add anything? Any other topics?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my thanks and homage to Srila Prabhupada. I have to apologize, Prabhu. My phone got unmuted.
Oh, no problem. No worries.
There must have been some disturbance.
No worries. That's okay.
Haribol.
Haribol, Jai. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so if nothing else, let's conclude today's class. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Let's chant together. Vancha kalpatarupasya Adidanam Bhavanebhyo
Gitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Namo Namah.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Bhagavad ki Jai.
Jai.
Pad
Jai.
ki Jai. Ananda Koti
Jai.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Premanande Hari Hari.
Haribol.
Thank you, Simhesvara.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.